college football, what that means for the ACC moving forward. We'll talk about Jeff Brom's comments. He had a couple things that he said that kind of caught my eye a little bit. There's some coach speak that goes into it, but there's some things that caught my attention. We'll make our official season predictions, and then we will give a little bit of preview into the season opener against Eastern Kentucky. A lot of good stuff on the show today. 502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line to get any thoughts in. It's all Louisville all the time, 5:30 to 7, taking you up on this Monday edition of the show. Look, I'm sure that Mike and Roman have discussed this because the news dropped on Thursday. SEC decides to go to that 9-game conference schedule. They joined the Big 12.
Yep.
They joined the Big 10. Now the ACC is the only Power 4 conference that doesn't have that. Potentially they're wanting to. More on that here in a second. But gut feeling. We'll start out with a gut feeling, guys. If I were to tell you to give me a percentage in which Louisville will play both Georgia and Kentucky as scheduled next year, what do you think that percentage is?
35%.
Ooh, I think that's low, Matt.
That's really low, Matt. I think it's like
I'd flip it. I think at the very worst, 65.
I was gonna go 70, like 72 is what was gonna come out of my mouth first.
77.4 maybe.
Kirby doesn't want to duck any smoke.
I get that.
He's not a duck smoker.
He's not.
He's already said he wants to play. He said.
I mean, he just had a neutral. I mean, it's quote unquote home and home, but it was a neutral home and home with Clemson the past 2 years. Like they played, and it was before that they played Clemson too. So they're not scared of Louisville. Maybe it changes their perception a little bit with the extra conference game. And if they have to pick a team, they're going to pick Tech over Louisville.
Yeah. I will say the following year,
I could see that.
Georgia has to come play us, and we're also planning to have UK on the schedule.
It's not at. We have to go play at Georgia in 2027.
I thought it was at Georgia.
26 is at home.
It's home first.
Home first for Louisville, and then it's
really
at Georgia between the hedges in 27.
Well, then I'd say like a 68% chance then. I think that that kind of changes what I had them flipped around. I don't think that Derby's ducking a home game at all.
I don't think so either. But in the same light, I think that next year you have to have other teams to schedule right now. I guess scheduling non-Power 4 teams is going to be easier than the opposite. But with 2026 literally being 12 months from now, I can see it to where Georgia's like, you know what? We'll keep the Louisville game this year or next year. And then we might reevaluate in 2027.
That's what I think. Except I was thinking that they had even more reason to with the home games.
I think there's a good chance that they play both. Now, if there wasn't a clause that they would have to play a Power 4 team or Notre Dame, I think Kentucky drops Louisville and just schedules another MAC team because they've already scheduled half the MAC anyways over the past 10 years. So I do think that Kentucky keeps that game. I don't know that they could really. What about Texas A&M? After the home and home against Georgia, at the moment, Louisville is the only Power 4 team that A&M is supposed to play in 28 and 29.
I think Texas A&M is going to be in a position where they'd love to have Louisville be their one Power team, Power 4 conference team that they play in their non-con out of the three. I don't see Texas A&M getting rid of this game.
I don't think so either.
I think it could benefit them with what they're projected
Well, I mean, think about it. You kind of look back to who teams have scheduled before, right? I mean, Texas A&M just had Notre Dame last year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't they? Was it Notre Dame?
No.
No, who? Are you sure? I think it was Notre Dame because it was a really low-scoring game in that season opener. It was in College Station. I'm almost positive they played Notre Dame. Rome's fact-checking that.
Looking it up right now.
No, Notre Dame played Georgia Tech.
They play Notre Dame this year.
Who did Texas A&M play to start the year out last year?
They had a big non-con game. I can't.
It was Notre Dame.
Yeah, they played Notre Dame. They did. First game of the season.
Thank you.
They lost 23-13 on August 31st.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I was thinking. So, that makes sense.
Oh, I wasn't going up enough there. There it is.
That's all right, man. Scroll up just a tad bit more. Okay, so we think that there's a really good chance that Louisville's schedule doesn't change much. And we know that even if the ACC adopts this 9-game conference schedule like they're hoping to do, I don't think that Jeff Brom ducks any of these games either.
I just wouldn't be surprised if one Georgia or Texas A&M says, "Yeah, we'll keep the home game. We've got to do something else
Well, I mean,
for the road game going up to you guys."
I don't see how that could work with Georgia, though. Georgia's not going to cancel this year.
You're not going to get someone
I mean,
scheduled in
you
time.
could.
I don't think it'd be worth
not
the
as
money
good
to
as us.
cancel.
But Louisville's not
going.
to allow you to cancel this year, and then we're just going to travel to Georgia next year. Like, Brahms not going to do that.
For the right price.
Even then, though, there comes the point to where it's the principle of it. You cancel this year, like, I don't want to play there, but you can definitely play at Georgia in 27. Hell no, bro. No shot. No shot. But the ACC is now the only Power 4 conference that is still at 8 conference games. I would imagine that they're going to follow in the footsteps of the other 3 and get to 9, but, of course, it's not possible at the moment. You have 17 teams in the conference. I've seen that there are 3 options, and I want you all to tell me which ones you like the most. And I want you all to tune in as well and let us know in the text comments, 502-414-1450, to get your thoughts in
on our Game Day Men's Health text line.
What Rome said. The first one I feel like is the least likely. You could subtract a team, but who would you subtract? Can we tell like Boston College to, hey, thanks, man, but I think it's not you, it's me. We just need to go in a different direction.
How long have they been in the ACC?
Longer than us.
Yeah, it's the one thing.
But still, though, what is Boston College bringing to you, though?
Nothing other than the history that they have in the ACC.
I mean, Matt Ryan had a good year back in, what, 07? You remember when Boston College was like a top 5 team?
I can't name another big-name player from there.
Luke Kuechly. A.J. Dillon, I mean, I guess you could consider a
I forgot A.J.
big-time
Dillon
player.
played there.
Zay Flowers.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Because how did you forget he only had like 250 yards every game against Louisville?
Yeah, I just didn't think.
You could take a team out. I don't know who you take out. No one's leaving the conference right now to get to 16.
There's a couple schools who are not bringing anything to the table in basketball or football.
If they took a team out, I think it'd be Stanford, and I think it'd be Stanford going back to the Pac-12.
Can I propose something that would make the most amount of sense? Can we take Stanford and Cal out and add Memphis? Can we at least try to pretend like we're the Atlantic Coast Conference? You can say what you want about Memphis. Cal and Stanford suck at football.
And they're not bringing
Stanford just lost to Hawaii, and that was one of the toughest watches I've had in a while.
Andrew Luck couldn't stay seated.
They haven't had a running back rush for over 500 yards in 6 seasons.
They said he'll have the headset on by week 3.
And I'm supposed to believe that Riverboat Ron Rivera is going to save California? They don't care about football.
No. And they've got the money is what I don't understand.
That just goes to show you they don't care about football. So why
is the basketball team not a powerhouse if
they don't care about basketball?
Where's the money going then?
Academics. It's almost like
going to the health problem.
It's almost like we brought both those teams in to try to appeal to Notre Dame, and it didn't work. So because it didn't work, let's say, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. Go join the new Pac-12, whatever that looks like, considering that it's clear that you don't care that much about the state of college sports moving forward. And let's bring in a Memphis team who's like, okay, we're going to throw $200 million at the Big 12. They're going to turn us away. ACC should take them because then that means that they're not going to draw TV money for a couple years. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. That's the other aspect that you can look at this. Do you add a team? Because if you add a team to get to 18, you can make it work. But then again, who do you add?
Notre Dame.
They're not gonna join.
They're already talking about having ACC teams where they would play Notre Dame count those as conference games.
Matt,
I'm like, just
pause
join
that
the
for a second
already.
because I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent in that regard. Let's sideline that for a second. Put that on the shelf. Outside of Notre Dame.
Tell Notre Dame if you want any other sport to be in the ACC, you got to bring the football team.
That's the way it should be, but it's not going to be. Who else besides Notre Dame? Like Memphis is a team. There's some people that say, well, you could poach West Virginia. I just don't see it. I don't think you could. If you could, that would be, I guess, one that I'd at least entertain.
I feel like that would take a while. I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it.
Somebody said we can go get Cincinnati. Hell no.
I'd rather have Tulane than Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, you can ask the people in the Big 12 what they think about Cincinnati, and the ROI hasn't been there. Who else? You could go the non-traditional route. Schools like Tulane, a growing football program.
A lot of money. Only going to.
It's a nice academic school.
Yep.
Tulane's a very smart school.
Basketball within its realm does well.
I mean, but you're more worried about football, right,
Yeah.
with the big-time money. And Tulane, I think, is one of those where it might take a transition year, but I would assume that they could probably hold their own maybe.
Who was their best win last year? Do you know?
Tulane?
It was at the end of the year.
I mean, I don't know. They won
I feel like they wouldn't be the worst.
They won
team
a
in the
New
ACC.
Year's Six Bowl 2 years ago.
No way they'd be the worst football team in the ACC.
If you really wanted to reach and like it would go kind of outside of football, but you could go like Coastal Carolina because of baseball.
I don't disagree, Matt. I think that the decisions are going to be made from a football point of view, though.
The answer's Memphis.
I mean, I feel like it is, and it's crazy. The ACC fans, they're kind of like turning their nose up to that, and I'm like, this is the same exact mentality that's plaguing the conference.
It brings you another semi-rival back.
It's like
too.
the holier-than-thou mentality. Can we please get out of this? Like, I think that why I'm kind of uneasy about the future of the ACC with Louisville is because it feels like everything is reactive and not proactive. And that means that eventually the Cardinals are going to be on the outside looking in some capacity. And that's kind of why I'm like, yeah, things might be at bay for a while, but look at what's happening. You're already seeing teams wanting to get out of the conference. The 9-game schedules are going to add more money. Unless you play Notre Dame and count those as league games, Matt. Did you see that? The Notre Dame games, and this is like the third option that Matt was kind of alluding to, that if Notre Dame's games against the ACC opponents count as league games, it can work. And I get it. Notre Dame's scheduling is going to be challenging moving forward because teams already have that one Power 4 team that they're looking at, right? Like, they're going to have a tough time filling the schedule with ample level games. Or, I'm sorry, respectable level games. So if they play, I'd say, a predominant ACC schedule and they start counting those games as ACC games just for the technicality aspect, I mean, what happens there? Does Notre Dame factor into the ACC standings? Probably not. But if those games count as conference games, like on paper, do they count like in the conference standings games?
Yeah.
But you know what I saw that makes me completely against this. And I had someone in the YouTube comments on my show say, like, bring up the history of the Big Ten and Notre Dame, about how Notre Dame's kind of been unfairly treated. And I said, look, I can't pretend to act like I know anything about it. I'm 27 years old, Rome. Are you 27?
November, I'll be 27.
How old are you, Matt?
26.
Okay. So we're right there in our primes. I don't remember anything about the Big Ten and Notre Dame. But what I can tell you is that the ACC has been catering to them. They're like, well, how? You've given them a lifeline. Every other sport gets to compete in this conference outside of football. Like, you get to have your cake and eat it too.
It's unacceptable.
And
give them the ultimatum.
And look, I understand that playing Notre Dame brings in more TV money, but if you let this thing with Notre Dame happen, all of the Notre Dame home games you don't make a dime off of because of that deal with NBC. There's some, like, the estimation with the SEC getting that extra conference game is supposed to give you about $5 million more per school a year. Not an insignificant amount of money. If adding Notre Dame is going to give you some money, but half of those games are home games for Notre Dame that you're not going to be a cent off of, what's the ROI? Like, why even bring a 9-game conference schedule into the mix if you're only seeing a fraction of that because the ESPN TV deal doesn't have any type of jurisdiction for a Notre Dame home game?
I think the big thing for this is that
college football playoff connotations would help. But go ahead, Matt.
A lot of this comes down to not only Notre Dame, but NBC in general. Because why on earth would Notre Dame ever leave the idea of being independent when NBC is just going to constantly fork up whatever they ask for all the time and give them that outlet no matter what? Like, how is any conference ever going to go to them and be like, just like Roman said, like, may give an ultimatum, like, hey, look, you either play football with us or you're playing another one. So they're like, okay, we'll just schedule somebody else. Like, they don't care. Like, they're making enough money off of, and the ACC's in such a horrible spot. I think losing that deal with Notre Dame would cripple them, in the sense of just eyes on it, and then that's the last straw.
Couple texts. It's game week, and we start off talking about that communist sport, soccer. Come on, Dalton. Hey, I had to give Matt some flack for being a fan of an inferior team in London. I apologize. Another text. About 100 years ago, the Big Ten, especially Michigan, would not let Notre Dame in because they were anti-Catholic bigots. Ever since then, Notre Dame said, we don't need your money to anyone. And that's kind of, what I came to understand. But, and look, I get that approach, but it doesn't stop the fact or cancel the fact that the ACC has tried to cater to Notre Dame. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying, Texter. I get it. It makes sense. What also is true is that it feels like adding Stanford and California felt like they were trying to appease Notre Dame. And what has that got you? It's got you laughed at, really. Because what did Stanford do last weekend? They lost to Hawaii.
Yep.
So I'm just in favor of adding another team. That is the least messy aspect.
Eliminates the risk of hurting the conference.
If the ACC is trying to stay afloat, the easiest thing that they can do is to add a team. And I would say that that's Memphis. If Memphis is throwing $200 million at the Big 12, chances are they would do the same with the ACC. And the ACC is not in a position to turn many teams away. That's all I'm saying. I'd love to see the ACC with a 9-game schedule. I think it's the right move. Everyone else is doing it. Why not you all? It's kind of the way I'm looking at it. But I don't think a team's going to leave in time. I don't think that they're going to kick anyone out. It is what it is.
I don't think they're going to kick anybody out. Stanford and Cal, what they just paid to get in, what you're hoping for the Cal basketball program. I think it's just too risk of putting the state of the ACC in flux again by removing two teams. There's the way that you could offset those two teams playing each other or something like that. I don't know. I think that the route is going to be adding a team, maybe extending one more year of playing 8 games to figure it out. You think that happens?
What's that?
You think they extend playing 8 games one more season after this season in the ACC just to figure it out?
I just feel really uneasy about the ACC seemingly being the last conference to do things.
Every time.
I'm telling you, it's the reactive approach. And reactive's not going to put you in a good spot in this ever-changing landscape of college athletics. It's just not. Especially when the writing is on the wall. The SEC and the Big Ten are trying to separate. We've seen that over and over. Let's see. I'm not disagreeing with your take. I was just backing up your thoughts were on Notre Dame history. No, I appreciate that. I just kind of wanted to say that for the record. Is I'm not saying that what happened to Notre Dame wasn't bad, because it obviously seemed like it was. But we're in the year 2025. And if Notre Dame feels like they don't need anyone's money, they're probably not wrong. Yeah. It's not really a money thing for Notre Dame. I think it's a thing of the freedom that they get while also getting the luxury of other sports not named football, getting to have a life raft that is the ACC. And the ACC is just supposed to be like, okay, well, you can do whatever you want in football. Appreciate you playing a couple games against us every now and again. I know we don't see any of that money from a home game, but
time for a change.
It's just tough because, what is that change?
Ultimatum.
I think it's
They're not benefiting your other sports.
I think it's the toughest part about
holding Notre Dame's feet to the fire. I feel like it's going to backfire. ACC's just in between a rock and a hard place, and everyone that I talk to that is against that, just it's going to be okay. The ACC's going to get through it. Are they though?
Louisville will.
Louisville will. Because they're going to go to a different conference.
That's all I'm worried about.
And look, I have a take that I think that the future of the Louisville program or the athletics program is best served in the ACC, and it's in the Big 12. My apologies, because I don't think it's legit that the Cardinals have a chance to get into the SEC or the Big Ten. I think that there is an outside looking in chance. I think that there are other schools that both conferences want more than Louisville and would take higher than Louisville. And that's why I believe that we're talking realistically, Big 12 would take Louisville in a heartbeat. I guarantee it.
So you got to go make the college football playoff and try to beat one of those teams.
Exactly. I mean, it starts with the perception of your program now, having your basketball program bouncing back. That would be huge as well.
And that's my one thing with if you do rid of Notre Dame, with SEC going to 9 games and Louisville being in that kind of viewed as a tier under the playoff team, kind of a tier. SEC schools, those mid-level SEC schools, in their eyes, they should think a win against Louisville should benefit us. The Georgia deal, the Texas A&M deal.
That's not the way they're looking, though. They're looking at this from a thing of, okay, how can we get as many teams into the playoff as we can? 9-game SEC schedule, 9-game Big Ten schedule is going to serve as some sort of justification to allow 9-3 and eventually 8-4 teams into that playoff.
They beat up on each other.
Because they beat up on each other.
So stupid.
And that you see it. And if they hadn't induced this clause of you have to play a Power 4 team, I would have been screaming that from the rooftops. But now they're at least maintaining some sort of integrity with the scheduling model. It's clear as day. They're going to do what they can to get as many teams in as they can. And a 9-game, like an 8-game conference schedule, 4 non-conference games, kind of hard to completely justify. But when you have 9 conference games, it's going to be easier to say, well, yeah, I know that Lane Kiffin completely underachieves every year and never really does anything of substance. But this year they're 9-3, and it's because they got beat up on by other teams. It is what it is. When we come back, it's going to be all about this year's Louisville team. Jeff Brom met with the media earlier on Monday to talk about the upcoming season and the upcoming matchup against Eastern Kentucky. We're going to react to some of his comments here on the second segment of Mondays with Dalton Pence. You're tuned in to Big X Sports Radio. Top of the hour here on this August 25th edition of Mondays with Dalton, Pence, D. Pence, Roman Kelly, Matt Childress taking you up till 7 o'clock tonight. It is officially game week here in the 502. I don't know about you all fellas, but it feels like an eternity since Louisville lost to Coastal Carolina in the College World Series up to now. It's really been about 2 months, but dude, 2 months has just felt like 8. My gosh.
Gone by really slow. But now we're here.
We're back. Vibes are good. Vibes are elite. Like, this is one of the best weekends of the year, in my opinion. Like, the first weekend of college football, and there's a lot of great games, by the way, as well. 502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line to get any of your thoughts in on this upcoming season. Of course, we are going to give our official record predictions next segment, and then we'll discuss what we know about Eastern Kentucky in the final segment. This is one of those teams that's hard to really, like, prepare for, like, in a discussion because FCS team, no disrespect to EKU, probably easiest game on the schedule for the Cardinals. But Jeff Brom did meet with the media on Monday morning ahead of the season opener on Saturday. I do think it's pretty interesting. It's on brand, but Jeff Brom says he's completely on board with a 9-game conference schedule and has been for a while. That just makes sense.
You know, let me look at the non-conferences he lined
This
up.
guy, I feel like he would just schedule 12 tough games if he could.
If it stayed at 8, he would schedule 4 crazy non-cons if he could.
Well, he's scheduled Notre Dame twice in his first 2 years.
He wanted Georgia back-to-back. He wanted Texas A&M back-to-back. And he said, you know what? Give me Notre Dame again after that.
Indiana did. I'm just playing. They did. Oh, man. Looking at kind of what Jeff Brom said, I'll be honest with you guys. It feels like a lot of it is kind of coach speak. You know how Brom operates. You all said that last episode. It's like, hey, you know, I don't really take much from what a coach says at the podium because, well, I mean, listen, it's coach speak. Jeff Brom is really, really good at coach speak. But I do find it interesting that when he talked about that wide receiver 3 rotation, you know how we've got multiple guys that are kind of in line for snaps there. He specifically mentioned Trayshawn Hurry and Antonio Meeks as the two that are going to be in contention for those snaps. And he said that Trayshawn Hurry has had an incredible offseason. It kind of felt like that's where this battle was trending. You were looking at those two players, and then maybe Dakari Collins on the outside looking in. But Trayshawn Hurry, Antonio Meeks, seemingly at least going to get the first crack at that wide receiver 3 spot. What are y'all's reactions?
I like it. I think that the fact that he's got a name that immediately popped up in his head means that Trayshawn's been making things happen.
Dare I say that Trayshawn's name hurried?
It did.
Into his
hurried up that depth chart real quick. I also, like Mike mentioned, this is like 2 or 3 times now he's talked to the media and not a word of Bobby Golden being spoken. Are you looking for that?
I always thought that Bobby Golden was like a slot backup. I mean, that's what he is. He's a slot.
Yeah.
But he's a possession receiver. Not really a big yak monster. I mean, I feel like he's one of those quality depth pieces, truthfully. I think 2 guys that I think we see over Bobby in terms of, like, snap counts, TJ McWilliams,
okay,
Minnesota guy that Miller Moss and Chris Bell both said was pretty reliable at ACC Media Day, and also former walk-on Chris Hughes.
Yep.
I think Chris Hughes sees a good amount of time.
Had a lot of strides at the end of the year last year.
And don't forget, I think Sean Boykins is still going to be used as that kind of all-purpose back.
Yeah.
Get him the ball in different ways, but Colin
He'll get some
Lacey's
sweeps and screens, I'm sure.
Colin Lacey's going to get the vast majority of the looks at that slot spot. Said that Trayshawn Hurry is a newcomer that has stood out. That makes a ton of sense. Love to see that for sure. Overall, I mean, I think that he mentioned that the defense was capable, offensive line. He felt like 7 to 9 guys were capable of playing. First week, let me ask you all this. In the first week, what are you kind of hoping to see? Like, is there because it's been totally different in years past. Like, I feel like Louisville either has a game that they're supposed to win by 40, or they're projected to lose.
I've got 3 things.
Okay.
First thing, Dalton, is the O-line ready in game one to accommodate this run game that we need to be elite? That's my first thing I'm looking out for. Are you creating holes against a defensive line that you should not struggle with in any way for Isaac Brown and for Duke Watson?
Yeah.
We need those gaps because you've got to establish that play style early, right? Get teams knowing that we're going to run the ball heavy, because then it's going to open up the playbook in those games to come. You shouldn't have to go deep into any playbook at all in these first two games, I think. And to avoid doing that, it's going to start with the run game. That's going to start with the O-line.
Okay.
Is the O-line ready from day one to get their backs going and get them with a head of steam? Because those two guys are going to lead this offense, I think, at the end of the day. Number two, Dalton, I don't want to see a single broken coverage. This is not an offense that should be – the receivers are going to be giving you a tough time. Yards after the catch, yards after, contact, that's always just week one, you're still figuring it out in terms of defensive stuff and you're hitting and positioning. But broken, until that ball starts, no broken coverages. That is not too much to ask for against an EKU team. And we didn't see any last year against Austin Peay, but Jacksonville State, the next week we did. I don't want to see any broken coverages. I think that this EKU team is kind of the in-between quality of Austin Peay and Jacksonville State that we played last year. Not Austin Peay bad, not Jacksonville State good. They're right there in the middle. And they've got a couple athletes on that team. No broken coverages on the defensive side.
So it's kind of like you want this to be like Austin Peay last year, to where it's
no points.
It's painfully uneventful.
Yes.
And I'm gonna make a claim.
No interceptions is the third one.
Okay.
Don't throw an interception in game one, Miller.
So just no turnovers, winning the turnover battle, and not looking sloppy, not looking
no broken
like
coverages,
you have any rust.
That offensive line, I want it to look like it's ready for EKU.
I mean, I'm going to understand that it's the first game with a bunch of new guys, so I'm not expecting perfection. Again, I think that the turnovers, I think that penalties are something else that I don't want to see much of, and I want to see this team take care of business early on. Is kind of where I'm looking at. Texter says, my wide receiver predictions. Wide receiver 1 is Chris Bell, with Dakari Collins as the backup, Trayshawn Hurry as the other receiver, Antonio Meeks backing him up, and then the slot is Colin Lacey with Bobby Golden and Chris Hughes as backups to him. I think that's spot on.
I think Chris Hughes and probably above Bobby right now, based on what we're hearing.
It did say Bobby Golden /
Yeah. Oh,
Chris
okay.
Hughes.
Yeah, I'm with it. I think that's pretty spot on.
Bobby Golden, though, I mean,
the highlights from last season look great. He's got the speed. He's not the biggest guy, but I can't.
31 catches, 446 yards, and a touchdown last year for the Akron Zips. 5'9", 185 pounds. When I watched his tape, there wasn't much explosiveness. It was a guy that just reliable at catching the football, and of course there is a spot on the field for those types of players, but I don't know. Like I guess I've gone through all offseason, and Bobby Golden's been a name like on the outside looking in for me this whole time, because he plays a slot, and there's only, like, by process of elimination, there's only one slot, right? Really, you're only playing one slot receiver, and that's going to belong to Colin Lacey for the vast majority of snaps. So there's really not a huge position battle there. And I don't know that Golden is going to be able to outplay the other guys on the outside, and it's pretty clear that he hasn't been able to. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those points to where, unfortunately, this isn't one of those, like, Scott Satterfield, like, wide receiver cores where you have, like, one really good guy, maybe two, and then everyone else is like, well, somebody's going to have to step up. Now it's like you have multiple players that are going to step up. Somebody's just going to have to separate themselves, right?
And who's going to be consistent?
So, yeah, I'm just, man, I don't know.
In this first game against EKU, we already know that, all eyes are going to be on basically Chris Bell and Colin Lacey and Duke Watson and Isaac Brown. I really just want to see Miller Moss go out there and get a good amount of touches and a good amount of reps. And I'm not just saying, like, hand the ball off. Like, I want to see, like, a lot of technical stuff from Miller Moss, like decision-making, maybe some, like, decent checkdowns here and there, maybe a deep ball here and there. Like, I want to see a full game out of Miller Moss. I don't want to see us just, like, run the ball down their throat the whole game. Like we know that
it's an eye test thing, right, Matt?
Yes, like there's a lot of questions like over things like after we saw Miller Moss did at USC and he got benched for a little while, is he going to come over here and step up? And on paper the wide receiver core looks amazing, but are they going to step up to the the next man up? Like I just want to see a good amount of touches spread around the field. I want to see everybody get a little bit of love.
Texter says Bobby Golden might not have a huge stat sheet, but he has great stats as a kick returner.
I was going to say the
last
returns
year,
are good.
17 for 316 yards. That's about 26 yards per return.
No TDs, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at who do we think is going to be returning punts and who's returning kicks? Like, I think I'm going to say it. I'm getting really worried about having our stars returning punts and kicks, bro.
If you've got 26 yards per
dog
return,
do not put Colin Lacey on punt kick return.
You've got plenty of young fast kids on
Quincy
this
Riley
team.
got hurt. Jair Alexander got hurt against Purdue. I'm sorry. Because he dealt with injury last year and you need him in that skill set at wide receiver, I understand the benefits. Find someone else to return punts and kicks. There's got to be some other players that can do that.
Let Antonio Harris do it.
No Antonio Harris. No Isaac Brown. No Duke Watson, no Colin Lacey, no Chris Bell, none of your top playmakers, and that goes to the defensive backside as well. No projected starters taking kicks back, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know who you can look at to hold on. I'm going to look something up because I don't know if he has or not. I would probably say not, but has Trayshawn Hurry ever returned punts and kicks?
Surely he's taken some couple punts back.
I mean, he's fast as can be. I mean,
isn't he a junior?
He's got 2 years of eligibility left. He's a junior. Let's see. Here we go. No, he has not taken any punts or kicks back.
Corey Collins, quick check.
He's 6'4". I highly doubt it.
True. But he's got
I highly doubt it.
He's hard to bring down. I wouldn't be surprised at NC State running things in their.
Who's the tallest return man that you remember seeing in your life?
Man, I mean, how big was Devin Hester?
5'8", maybe. Probably. That's all it was. Devin Hester.
Was Percy Harvin tall?
No.
He was 5'11".
Okay, so it's probably the tallest that you'll see.
Who was the baldest kick returner, Roman? Do you know that?
I was about to wait for. He said, "Yeah, there's a lot of bald guys in the NFL." Okay, bro, name 5. He's like,
Brian Hasselbeck.
Matt Hasselbeck.
Matt Hasselbeck can't even get his name right.
I literally just typed in tallest kick returner. That was all. And then Jacoby Jones was 6'4".
Jacoby Jones was 6'4".
I've seen Jacoby cut up.
Are we talking about the same Jacoby Jones that caught that touchdown pass against the Broncos in the playoffs in their Super Bowl year?
Yeah.
Rest in peace to Jacoby Jones, by the way.
Jacoby Jones had a 109-yard kick. That's what I was thinking.
Bro was 6'4".
He was the return goat for the Ravens for a minute.
Bro,
109
why did
yards.
I not realize he was 6'4"? But he seems like an anomaly. Like, you don't see that.
When he got up to full speed, you weren't catching him.
Ja'Cory Brooks as a punt returner last year was a big one height-wise. He's 6'2", so yeah, I mean, that checks out. But I say all that to say it's very unlikely, usually, that you see many tall guys as punt returners.
Yeah, they're not quick.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have that explosiveness and burst.
Typically
and
not very agile like Jacoby Jones was at his size.
Okay, so who is going to return punts and kicks?
It's going to be Colin Lacey, and we're all going to hate it.
Did they already announce that yet, or like
no?
They've seen it. He was fielding them at practice.
I think the texter's right. I think Bobby Golden's going to have. He's going to be on the kick returns.
I won't be surprised if Colin Lacey's back there next to him, though.
Can we please make sure Isaac Brown is not, or Duke Watson?
They're already going to have such a workload. Like,
yeah,
this wouldn't even help.
It's not too much to ask for the three of them, Dalton. It's really not. No Isaac Brown, no Duke Watson, no Colin Lacey. That's not too much to ask.
Yeah, it's like protecting someone in like an expansion draft. We're going to protect these guys.
You had to rely on Ja'Cory even more.
It might be just PTSD, bro, because I am petrified of losing that player to injury because you lost Quincy Riley. You lost, and maybe some will say, well, it wasn't the kick return that he got hurt. I don't care. He still did get hurt. Jair
No,
Alexander
he tweaked his
got
ankle
hurt.
on a kick return.
Some try to claim that it wasn't on that.
It's just more
Oh, it was later in
unnecessary
that game
reps.
or something.
Yeah, that was later in the game, but it's the extra reps, it's the extra strain on the body.
It's the potential to get blasted and concussed.
Yeah, I think you're right. Bobby Golden, put him out there.
Throw Antonio Harris out there. He returned all kinds of stuff for Mail last.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Antonio Harris. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about the football records because I am extremely hopeful for this football team. And look, I can't control what Louisville football is going to do, but I'm extremely hopeful. Just like I know that you can't control accidents, but you can be extremely hopeful in the fact that you have someone that is from the 502 that is all about safeguarding your rights, representing injury victims, and ensuring they receive maximum compensation permitted by law. Chances are, if you've been around Louisville athletics, you've seen the name Collier Law Firm. Collier Law Firm, the title sponsor of the Mondays with Dalton Pence show, has been all about advocating for Louisvillians all across the city. Whether you get hurt on the way to the job or at the job, Collier Law Firm has you covered. Look, we can't control the accidents that we get in, but at least Collier will give you the peace of mind knowing that they've got your back in multiple different situations. 502-736-8141. Call to talk to someone or callyourlawfirm.com if you or someone you know is injured on the job or on the way. That's callyourlawfirm.com, 502-736-8141. When we come back, official season record predictions. And guys, I'll be honest, this is the most optimistic I've been quite some time. We'll talk to you after the break. You're tuned into Mondays with Dalton Pence here on the Big X Sports Radio. 2 segments down, 2 segments to go here on the final August episode of Mondays with Dalton Pence, brought to you by the Collier Law Firm. Dalton Pence, Roman Kelly, and Matt Childress in studio with you, taking you up until 7 o'clock tonight. Guys, it's time for our signature segment. Call it how you see it. This is more of a big picture type thing. The over-under win total for the Louisville Cardinals. Remember what it was?
8.5.
8.5. I had my official record prediction show today on the Locked On Louisville podcast, and I've got to say 10-2 is my official prediction. 10-2.
That's it. You've heard it there. Dalton Pence, 10-2.
Go ahead and write it here. We got to write it down so we can make sure that we know. 10-2 for me, Rome.
Matt, you ready?
I'm ready.
What's yours?
I'm with you, Dalton. I'm
Hey,
10-2.
listen, man. I asked Romy, said, Matt, you ready? What's yours?
I'm 10-2 right there with you, Dalton.
Okay, Rome. Don't do it, Rome. Don't do it.
This is tough for me.
Chat,
fellas.
he's gonna do it.
Right now, I'm sitting at 9-2
Chat, how does that work? Oh, because
I haven't picked the prediction for the SMU game.
Okay.
Fellas, I hate to do this. I hate to do this because this is not me. This is not me. What's happening inside my soul right now is off, but I have to do this. Unfortunately, with my fears on Ron English and the biggest issues I felt this defense had last year, and those kind of being the most prevalent and existing in the SMU game in my eyes, I have to go with a loss down in Dallas against SMU.
9-3 is respectable.
9-3 is where I'm at, fellas.
I feel like there's a portion of the fan base that's like, you know what? I don't really have much faith in the defense. I think 7-8 is where we're going to be, and then we have those that are like, 12-0 college football playoffs. I'm right there in the middle. I'll be honest, on my podcast, because I try to not be a sunshine pumper, I try to keep things as unbiased and realistic as I can. A lot of people take that as me being a pessimist. To be completely honest with you. I don't know how you could see that with this prediction, with me having Louisville at 10-2. 10-2 is a really, really good year. So let's take a look at who
That's
I have
the bare minimum to be considered for the college football playoff
easily,
in the
without a
SEC.
doubt. I think losses to Eastern Kentucky and Bowling Green, and we run the table the rest of the way. What do you think, Matt?
That is a good run. That is a good run.
Will you make the college football playoff?
That would be low-key. I think you have a better chance of that because everyone's written you off, and then you're like, boom, we're going to beat Miami, Clemson, SMU.
Inside the top
Because
20.
the thing about it is, well, here's the thing. You go 10-2, and those are your 2 losses, you're automatically in the ACC championship.
Automatically.
Game. Automatically, because you don't have a conference loss.
And you feel confident about the opponent.
And if you win the ACC championship game, you're in because you're going to be 10-2. But it's going to be like a miserable first couple weeks.
If we somehow lost against EKU,
don't start, Matt. Don't put that in.
And then James Madison, and then ran the table, I don't even know if I can physically or mentally explain the feelings that would go on.
Dude, the roller coasters would be like Kings Island level of just like the lowest lows and then the absolute highest highs. Like, that's a redemption story right there.
We'll be 2-2 with Virginia coming to town. Not sure
But we're
if
going to be 0-2 going into the bye week. You know that bad, dude. That bye
That'd be
week,
the worst bye week of my life.
that bye week is going to be as toxic as there ever has been in Louisville sports.
I'd maybe be too sick for radio that week.
I've already called in, and we haven't even played the game. But my 2 losses were Clemson and SMU. And look, I understand everyone's takes. We went to Clemson last year and beat Clemson. Yes, they had some injuries to deal with. Yes, a couple of blocked kicks kind of changed the momentum of that game. But we went in there and we handled business. We beat them. Isaac Brown said night-night, and the Tigers lost in Death Alley Jr. But they're a wagon. They're a damn good team this year.
They brought a lot back.
They brought everyone back. And they're like, oh, well, we shut down their receivers. You mean their 5-star freshman receivers? You're trying to rationalize that these guys aren't going to be better? And it's funny to me how people act like Cade Klubnik isn't a good quarterback just based upon that one game. It kind of confirms to me that people watched the Georgia and the Louisville game, but they didn't see him almost beat Texas at Texas in the playoffs. They didn't see what he did through the rest of the year. Cade Klubnik was a really good quarterback. I'm not saying he's the number one quarterback in the country, but he's a really, really good quarterback. They have an incredible front seven led by a really good secondary. Dabo finally believes in the portal. It's going to be a very good Clemson team. And it feels pretty self-explanatory, but I have to say it. To win, to go 10-2, that means there has to be 2 losses somewhere. So I'm going to say one's to Clemson. It was a coin flip for Miami SMU. I think it came down to the fact that Mario Cristobal, outside of 1 year with a generational offense led by the number 1 draft pick and a great receiving core. Yes, he's going to have the best offensive line in the conference, but Mario Cristobal is incredible at doing less with more every year outside of the last year. So was last year a fluke? I tend to believe it is until I see otherwise. So I think SMU is more likely of a loss. I do think that Louisville improves in the fact that they don't have a trap loss this year. That's some improvement, but I do. Clemson and SMU are my projected losses on the schedule, but it would not surprise me if they won either of those games or both of those games. Matt, who are the 2 losses?
Roman, you ready?
I'm ready.
Go ahead. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, Rome, go ahead. He pulled the old Uno reverse card on him. I didn't know where Matt was going with that. I thought he was about to pull some terrible team out, and he said, all right, watch this Uno reverse card go down. Whoever wants to go can go.
I'll go first. I was just joking. My 2 losses this year, I fully believe that we push into Miami undefeated, and I think that's going to be our first take. I think that I agree with you that Mario Cristobal does less with a lot more, and I don't really care for him as a coach, but I feel like that's going to be a really tough game in terms of like going in there undefeated. We got to give one up. I think we're going to stumble at some point, and I don't think we're going to push all the way to Clemson to stumble that game. And my second one is SMU. I think.
So you think we beat Clemson?
I think we beat Clemson.
Okay.
And this is why. I'm one of those people, Dalton, that I do not believe in Cade Klubnik. I don't. I don't believe in him. He's a good quarterback, yes, and he plays on a really good team. Clemson's going to be good this year. If you're denying that, then you're just wrong. They're going to be good. But the city is going to be buzzing that week.
It will be. Especially if we're good.
We got Clemson coming in. If they stay on the track they are, that's going to be one of the highest ranked football games in our team's history playing each other.
I mean, that honestly, Matt, not to interrupt you, that's a possible game day game.
Yes, it is. And we haven't had a game day since 2016.
No. We had one, it was that weird Louisville versus Miami, that COVID year.
I remember that now.
Remember that? It was like 2020, I think, where we got absolutely busted.
I remember that one now.
Yeah.
But we got them coming into town. That's going to be a night game. And then 3 days before that, we have the UVO UK basketball game that's also going to be in town. And I'm just saying that if we could pull out a win in both of those games, this might be the happiest I'll ever have been in my entire life, and that's not even making the playoff. I'm fully manifesting it into my life that we win both those games.
It's kind of funny. It's like that. Scotty Scheffler when he's questioning the meaning of life, and dude goes absolutely Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Matt Childress when he's pondering how happy his life is. What do you think? Where are our losses? You said one of them is to Miami.
Yeah.
One of them is, I would assume, is to Clemson because I literally just looked at your list.
Yep. I've got a loss to Miami.
Well, the other one's got to be SMU.
I think that Miami, I agree with people a lot that Cristobal doesn't perform like the rosters he has needs to, especially with the schedules he gets. With that being said, though, Miami typically starts that fade a little like it's weird. Right when we play Miami is typically in their seasons when things start to go awry for them. It's like Game 5, Game 6 in their seasons when their true colors start to show. I feel like, and that's right what this is for us and for them. I just think that we go down there. Carson Beck does enough to win a shootout, in my eyes, in a game in which the athletes they have on the defensive side do just enough to win the turnover battle. Is kind of where I'm at in that game.
It was close in 2023,
and I don't think Carson Beck is in the same category of a game breaker that Cam Ward is, and his ability to do all the kind of
things. He's also coming off of Tommy John.
Can't even throw as far as he could a year ago.
And look, I get it. You can do it in practice, but can you do it in a live game setting? Because, listen, you've got Notre Dame's defense game one.
Hard-hitting defense.
That's kind of why I'm kind of worried for Miami's sake, because I think if things go south, they can go south in a hurry. They've got Miami and Florida, or they've got Notre Dame and Florida before they even step foot on the field against Louisville. So they got those 2 games. They've also got at Florida State, who could be respectable, and they also have South Florida, who, stranger things have happened, right?
Yeah.
So you have 4 formidable opponents out of 5 before you even see the Louisville Cardinals get to your stadium.
While Mario Cristobal doesn't typically go into have seasons that would suggest this, I do think that is going to benefit them come the Louisville game. I think they will have seen enough.
In turn, it could.
That offense will have seen enough on the defensive side for those different teams that they will have played to be prepared for just about anything Louisville's defense is going to throw at them. That is my one fear for that game, is that they're going to be ready for our defense. And I don't know just how ready we'll be for theirs with who we will have played on our defense going up against the offenses that we will have seen. I mean, Pitt, that offense has the chance to be a pretty productive one that you're going to have to go all out in your game plan to stop. But outside of that, JMU, yeah, that offense is going to put points up, but is that offense going to be the kind that can put up points against an ACC team like us? I don't know. You've got that test against Pitt. I'm not really worried about that Virginia offense, but then that's a real test with that Miami offense. I just fear that with how battle-tested they will have been, and with us kind of having not really seen the defense like that, I do fear that we run the risk of that being a close game that we go on and lose down with it being in Miami. Granted, that home crowd isn't going to help them a whole lot, especially not on this isn't a Friday game, is it too, right?
Friday, but listen, man, Miami is not a college town, bro.
Yeah, Friday night game, I'm not really worried about that crowd.
I'm not worried about the crowd any day or night of the week.
Well,
when we went in 2023, it was about 60-40.
My thing is, if they win, they can't really lose. If they can lose they can't.
That's a fair weather fan base, man. If they start losing,
but if they win, or if they're ranked still when they come in playoffs, well, this is the potential to be a ranked matchup, though.
I don't disagree. I just like I said, the rebuttal that Miami's gonna have talent, bro. They are talented every year at every single position. But guess what? They just had their most talented team since 2001, and they couldn't even make a 12-team playoff because they lost to Syracuse.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop anybody with Reuben Bain and other players on that defense, Simeon Barrow and other NFL guys on that defense. They couldn't stop them.
They couldn't. They
went 10-2, and that's the best offense that Mario Cristobal will ever have. So you're looking at an offense that just lost their number 1 draft pick. They bring in a quarterback who looked terrible in the SEC last year, and he's coming off injury. UCL, like Tommy John's not an insignificant injury. You replace most of your top runners. Damian Martinez is gone. Now they do, I think, have Mark Fletcher back, but all of your top receivers gone.
They brought one kid in the portal. I think they've got a big freshman name, but they don't have the same receiving.
They're going to have the best offensive line in the conference, and
will they even perform the best, though? We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you have to play the games, and then defensively, yeah, they're talented. They brought in a new defensive coordinator, but
that defensive line could be scary too, though.
Could have been scary last year, and they
had the athletes
completely terrible.
Last year, yeah,
Miami had no business not making the playoff last year.
I agree,
and they choked.
But with that kind of talent, they always have the potential to be a team on both sides of the ball that's just elite.
I mean, it's going to be a tough game. Yeah. I just think that, like, if you're saying 10-2, and you're trying to decide whether you can beat SMU in November in a game that could decide if you go to the ACC title game or not, or go to the playoff or not, in Dallas against a mobile quarterback, against a high-tempo offense that can put points up.
It's already to put them on your defensive coordinator.
Is your defense going to be in a better spot to stop them, or is it going to be in a better spot to stop Miami? And I'm going with the latter in this one. I don't feel particularly great about either one. I think it's going to be a tough game regardless. But I do think that that's where the Cardinals are at. Let's kind of now transition into, is 10-2 going to be enough to get you to Charlotte?
I think it is.
Last year it wouldn't have been.
It wasn't.
SMU was undefeated in conference play, and Clemson went 7-1.
But like you said, Miami's beginning of the schedule is tough.
But it's got to be
beginning of the schedule.
ACC losses, though.
Oh, you're right.
Notre Dame doesn't start.
Right.
At least not this year.
It doesn't count as a loss yet in the conference.
Louisville and SMU are the only teams that play the other top projected teams. Georgia Tech is on that weird spot to where they have Clemson, but outside of that, they don't really have anyone. So is 6-2 in conference play with a loss to Clemson and a loss to one of SMU or Miami, is that going to be enough to get in, to potentially get a tiebreaker? Because I think that right now, if you're 10-2 and you don't make it to Charlotte, I'm not fully convinced that you're in the playoff. I guess it depends on when the losses come and the perception of your team, but Miami was 10-2 with the best offense in college football. They lost the regular season finale, and they didn't make the playoff. It's not as black and white as this. Like, there's so much context. It's going to depend on...
No, and SMU's schedule is not a tough one this year.
It's going to depend on, well, is the Big 12 just going to be a one-and-done league? Is there going to be like a Boise State this year that takes a bit away from a team? Hope not. What about the SEC? What about the Big 12? Or I'm sorry, the Big 10? So you're kind of going back and forth here, and like I think 10-2, I think 2 losses is the absolute most you can have to even get to Charlotte. But I'm not convinced. I mean, you're going to need some help. I'm not convinced that that's 100% going to get you in.
If you go 10-2 and you beat SMU, and they only lost to SMU, I mean to
would you rather have
Clemson and Miami, it's going to be tough.
Would you rather beat SMU or Miami? For this hypothetical, would you rather beat SMU or Miami?
For this hypothetical, I'm going SMU.
SMU has Syracuse, Stanford, Clemson, Wake Forest, Miami, Boston College, Louisville, and California. So you have the top 3, and then everyone else is a bottom feeder, basically.
If you have the chance to beat both, if both are a win, I do think that SMU's record is better at the end of the season than Miami's.
Miami, you have
a better win for us.
Florida State, Louisville, Stanford, SMU, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, Pitt. Miami has the tougher ACC road. My thing is this. My theory, Miami could be very, very good. I think Miami's going to crumble. I think they're going to have a year more so like 2023 than they will 2024. So that means I would rather have the win because Miami has to go play at Tech and at Virginia, and they do have to play Florida State, like better teams than who SMU has to play. Like SMU's just, again, second straight year, they don't have to play outside of Louisville and Clemson, or outside of Louisville, Miami. I think they have to play Clemson as well. But I think what you're hoping for is that, Anthony said it, Clemson's on a Friday night. Can't be a game day, unfortunately. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know how we missed that, honestly.
It is what it is. I think that for the sake of, like, Louisville's argument, it's best if Clemson runs the table outside of that Louisville game. You agree?
Yeah.
Because
100%.
Georgia Tech's that team that could throw a wrench in their plan because I'm not sure that there's another ACC loss after Clemson. So tiebreaker will probably go to Louisville over Tech in that situation, but we need Clemson to beat Tech. We need Clemson to beat SMU. And that means that we're going to have that much better of a shot. So, what about, like, do you think that we have to make – it's weird. Like, do you think we have to make the ACC title game to be in the college football playoff? Because if you lose the title game and you're 10-3, is the committee going to be forgiving? Because SMU was 11-1 and they barely got in.
Do you think it's because of the performance in the title game?
They barely lost.
Exactly. You think that's helped them out?
I think it did more harm than good just losing the game.
Yeah.
Because they went from being squarely into, I don't know, guys, Indiana hasn't played anybody and they look much better.
I think it comes down to, like, how well the top 3 teams do at the end of the season. If it's a really, like, nail-biter race to the end of the season for the ACC title game, I want to say you might not have to make it. But at the end of the day, getting in is almost going to assure you that you're going to be in serious consideration, win or lose. But there is the side that playing in that game, if it is a really nail-biter race, that game could harm you. Because if you were to go in that game and get absolutely blown out to whoever you're playing, whether it's Clemson, whether it's SMU, whatever, maybe that third team just on the out edges you out a little bit.
Yeah. that's why I'm saying, like, a lot of it's going to come down to a couple things. Number one is Big 12. Is that going to be a one big league, right?
Should be.
I mean, it should be. Nothing screamed Ireland more than Kansas State and Iowa State looking like they were playing 80s football in the slop.
Terrible.
Texter says, success to me this year is beating UK, going 2-1 between Miami, Clemson, SMU, and no stinker loss. Let the postseason shape out, however, but we need to control our own destiny. I also think that if Louisville gets to 10 wins, I'm going to be happy regardless. That's a really good
Very
season.
successful season.
If we get 10 wins, we are in conversation.
Yeah, 3 texts from this texter. We all know this hasn't happened too many times in this program historically, but we all think of Jeff Brom as an elite top 15 coach in the country, so we need to set elite expectations for him.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I can't not agree, but in the same time, like, I mean, I think we have to be realistic. I mean, Louisville. I mean, how many? It goes back to the point that, like, Louisville is a perennial 6 to 8 win team until proven otherwise, right? I think that ceiling and expectations are two different entities and they're two different conversations, but I don't necessarily disagree in principle. Last text this texter has is they said last year they wouldn't punish people in the championship game. Talking about the losers in the top 11 going into that week, we're going to stay inside of the top 11. And what happened? They almost put 9-3 Bama in over SMU. But 11-1 in Indiana got in. So it's like, again, it goes back to the perception of the ACC is significantly down. It's probably never been this bad since we've been in the conference.
You need Clemson to be as good as they can be and then us beat them.
You need the ACC to be as good as you can be. You need them, not only the top 4, you need, it sucks, like, from a perception standpoint, you need the ACC to be good, but from, like, a selfish Louisville standpoint in the standings, like, you're rooting for pandemonium.
Yeah.
Like, you're rooting for parity in the conference outside of Louisville. It's kind of how it was in 2023. Louisville lost to, who was that lost to? Well,
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they lost to Pittsburgh, and they got help everywhere else. North Carolina lost, remember?
Yep.
Louisville beats, they beat Miami to clinch their spot.
Yep.
So, while Florida State had gone undefeated, so needed North Carolina to lose, and they lost. So, I think it's one of those things. Let's get to 10-2 and worry about everything else after that. That's the point. Like, we can sit here and worry all we want here on August 25th. Truth is, we're not going to be able to really have a say in the matter. The only hope is that Louisville is perceived as a good team through the season. And this year, you've got to get that signature win, but you can't follow it up with a bad loss because it means that top win kind of looks like a fluke.
Unless you start 0-2 and then you run the table.
I just want to know what the perception of the team would look like.
I think that we would actually have, like, Jeff Brom's head on a stake, and then week 5, we're like, oh, my God, this is the best coach we've ever had.
Well, I think it'd take longer than that. I think by the Clemson win, you beat Clemson, that's when everybody's like, hold on now. Let's see.
We're like, hey, let's just get his stinkers out of the way early. Let's just push him towards the beginning of the season.
Of course, beating Kentucky is also something that I'm using as a measuring stick to talk about how successful this season is. The Wildcats just named Checks Notes Zach Calzada
Yes.
as the starting quarterback. Heisman hopeful.
What is the percent chance he starts every game?
Every single game? 20.
That high?
I mean, Cutter Bowley's not that much better.
He's not. But
we saw what Cutter did last year.
Come on, Cutter.
Dude, that segment that you and Mike had about Cutter was gold. I'm sitting there listening to it, and I'm like, who are these guys talking? I'm like, wait a minute, that's Rome. Can we get a sample of that voice?
Come on, Cutter. This calzone kid don't know what he's doing, Mark. Throw Cutter in the game.
Hey, motivated Mark Stoops. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if Mark was really motivated, he'd throw that dual threat Cutter in the game.
Hammer Toledo plus 7.5 is what you're telling me.
Hammer it. Hammer it.
I don't know. Mark Stoops is really good against the
I'm
MAC.
on Toledo -3.5.
MAC Mark is really good. He didn't lose to MAC teams. Mark Stoops is all about that MACtion.
He is, isn't he?
He said,
You know who'll have one on the schedule every year.
you know, do you remember that Max Kellerman, the Iguodala, the death beam pointed at Earth? He's like, if I want one guy shooting a basketball, give me Andre Iguodala. He said, look at all the Power 4 teams. Give me Kent State and Toledo.
That's insane.
Man, oh, man. It's all about preview.
But that's what they need. They got to get some wins somewhere.
It's all about preview for the Eastern Kentucky matchup. We're going to dive a little bit more into this matchup when we come back on the final segment of the offseason. You're tuned in to Big X Sports Radio. We'll see you soon.
For their children incentives to behave well, but many moms and dads don't understand the difference between a bribe and a reward. Think about what Kim went through. She asked her daughter to get into a shopping cart, and her daughter flatly refused. To avoid creating
All right, Card Nation, I won't lie to you. I kind of messed up a little bit and went a little bit longer on that last segment. I'm sorry, but really not sorry. So we got like 6 minutes left of the show. So some very brief Eastern Kentucky preview talk. Last year, Eastern Kentucky went 8-5 under Coach Walt Wells. They were 6-2 in the conference play. They lost in the FCS playoffs to Villanova.
Should have won that game too, by the way. They were in control. Bad turnover at the end. Kind of got screwed.
Albany transfer Miles Burkett is the starting quarterback. 1,800 yards and only 10 touchdowns last year. So,
did he rush the ball a lot? What was he doing? 1,800 yards.
18.
Shuck did that by like week 5, week 6. Jeez.
Bro said, what was he doing? Braden Latham seems to be like he's going to be RB1. I can't. 622 yards and 3 touchdowns for him. Marcus Calwise Jr. apparently is the go-to guy at wide receiver, FCS All-American, freshman All-American, first-team freshman All-American. He had 526 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. Going to look for Louisville to try to lock him up in this game. Offensive line seems like it's going to be serviceable for the FCS level. Looking at the defense, they brought in some transfers on the defensive line, but they lost some core guys to graduation. So it's going to be a new look. But I think that overall, at the moment, Louisville is a 38.5-point favorite over the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. We'll call it how you see it, part 2. Does Louisville cover the spread on Saturday? 38.5 points.
Yes.
Yes.
What's the prediction score? Bless you.
54-0.
Are you good, bro?
Sneeze is like,
I don't know what you were just doing right there.
you know that when the sneeze is about to happen.
Dude, you
and
look
then
like
it
you were
doesn't
fighting demons.
Burn me for a second there in my nose. It's tough. Went lightheaded for a second.
You said 54 to what?
Nothing.
Okay, so you think we blank them. What about you?
I'll go like 57-10.
Okay, how are we getting to 57 though, bro? Like, what's the multiples of 7? 56. How are we getting? We going for 2? We going for 2 one time?
I think we miss a field goal maybe.
I think we get a safety in there.
But even then, like, where's the extra point coming from, bro? Like 57 is like, well, we missed a field goal. Okay, that's great. That means you'd have 55.
Yeah.
And you said
we got
we'll get a safety. That's 59.
Oh,
so we missed one and we get a safety.
Isn't there a situation where you can get 1 point on a safety depending on?
It's real weird.
Isn't it like a? Gosh, I forgot what. Is it an extra point you have to get I forgot what it is. I'll have to look it up. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I need to know.
Drive me nuts. 1 point safety. It's the rarest score in college, or rarest score in American football occurring when a team during a conversion attempt, extra point or 2 point conversion after a touchdown, gains possession of the ball, is then tackled in its own end zone. So you're telling me that we're gonna hit some scoregami level stuff?
We'd have to run this dude back 80 yards.
You imagine, bro?
Give me 56-10.
Can you imagine the long snappers just saying, yeet? And the ball just travels 95 yards backward.
That's a Shedeur Sanders drop back.
You know what? Just for that, we're going to hang his jersey. Put his jersey up in the Cleveland Browns Stadium right now. I've seen enough. But for me, I'm going to go, because I think that this is going to be one where the starters are out by close to halftime. I'm going to say, what did we beat Austin Peay by last year? 63-0?
Yeah. 60. Yeah.
62-0. Yes.
I was gonna say.
I'll go 56-7. I think Eastern Kentucky gets like a garbage time touchdown. I think Louisville wins this game. I think that they're going to cover the spread. They might very well be close to covering the spread in the first half.
That's why I said 10, just because I think they'll get 1 field goal too.
Okay. Matt's confident though. He thinks they're going to blank him.
I'm manifesting a Ron English masterclass.
I hope. It'd be good to see in game 1.
Somebody's got to hope for this man. He's so down. We're all dogging on him. Somebody's got to be on his side, and it's going to be me.
It's actually not it's not an unrealistic ask against EKU.
Matt's sitting here saying he's going to have hope for him, but instead he's going to be under the Eastern Kentucky bench with the hat.
That's the
and
hope.
Shades
It's one of
on.
those.
I'm helping him out.
Bowling Green better not score is more so where I'm at with that kind of.
Bowling Green's going to be better than Eastern Kentucky.
I don't think so.
Bowling Green's in the MAC, bro.
They were
The
terrible.
mighty
last
Mac.
year, though.
Bro, they lost to Penn State and A&M by less than 7 points.
Am I thinking of a different team?
You must be, bro. They've got Hall of Fame running back Eddie George coaching them now, bro.
They do.
Who are you thinking
I
about?
don't know.
Dalton, you buy our sunglasses and mustaches yet?
Yeah, but they're like those novelty ones with the fake noses too. Though.
That's even better.
You think they'll recognize us?
No.
We're gonna wear fake name tags too.
I think we just go full Bowling Green fit.
For game 1 against Eastern Kentucky.
Yes,
that's a weird flex.
we're scouts.
we're gonna get Bowling Green disqualified before the game. Oh man, it's been a nice off season. It's been a long off season, guys, but it's been a nice off season.
It's
Look,
time.
next Monday is Labor Day. Is it?
It is.
Are we sure?
No.
Are we sure?
No.
Are we sure that that's
Yes,
Labor Day?
it is. It is Labor Day.
Okay.
September.
We won't have an episode next week, but I don't know. I might pop into the studio
I'm in and see us.
sometime next week. If Mike Rutherford will finally follow me back on Twitter.
If this is lost one of the season of our 2
Yeah, no
losses, then
kidding.
you're going to have to come in.
It is. Oh, gosh. No kidding.
He'll be in by himself.
Thanks for tuning in to Mondays with Dalton Pence, Dalton Roman, and Matt signing off. Go Cards. We're back, baby.
Go Cards.